Let me ask you a question. If you're going to achieve big goals in 2022, what are the most important skills that you need? In this video, I'm going to share 5 of them with you. I think you'll like this. Hey everybody, Bill Caskey. I'm really happy you're with me today. By the way, if you want the entire version of this, there's an 18-minute podcast. We'll put the link below. It's an audio podcast. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to Bill Caskey. Also, make sure you subscribe here on the YouTube channel as well. So my theory here is that we all want to accomplish big goals. I don't know anybody in my business life, and I do a lot of coaching and training for organizations, who doesn't have a big goal for 2022. And what I always ask when I go inside a company is, okay, you've got your forecast, you know where you want to get, you know you want to generate a certain amount of new business, certain number of new clients, certain amount of personal income. But the question is, how do you do it? Because the plan isn't really a plan if there's no how. And one of the most important things in your how journey, if you've got point A to point B, the question is, how are you going to do it? Skills are an important part of that. And so I want to share with you 5 skills today. Some of these might be familiar to you, some of these may not be, but I want to share 5 of these. And again, as I said, if you want a lot more detail, go to the podcast, Bill Caskey podcast. There is a link below. So the number 1 skill to building your business in 2022 is you have to think platform. You have to think, where are you going to put your content? As a professional salesperson, as a VP of sales, as a CEO of a B2B company, or anybody, how are you going to build your platform? What is your platform going to be? Is it a video-focused platform like on LinkedIn or like YouTube, like you're watching this? Is it an auditory podcast type thing where you're going to be doing recorded messages and recorded shows, maybe interviewing guests? Is it strictly a LinkedIn platform where you're posting pictures and videos and articles and content all the time on LinkedIn to get views and get your audience juiced up so that they can connect with you via email or whatever other platform you want to use? So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what platform am I going to use? I don't recommend you do them all. I do podcasting, I do YouTube, I do some LinkedIn stuff, but I don't do TikTok and Twitter, personal Twitter a little bit. But I think you have to decide what is your social media platform that you're going to build it on. It could even be a blog, but then you have to promote it through social media. So skill number 1 is you've got to think platform. What platform is going to allow you to speak to your audience? And this audience could be anything from your target account to networking to things like that, but you've got to build your platform. So that's tip number 1. Skill number 2 I think you need to have, and I'm working on it all the time, is writing, and I'm going to call it writing cohesiveness. It's not just writing and putting out stuff. It's how are you looking at your writing and your content and your messaging? Do you have a framework for it, or are you just throwing stuff out there? Because if you're just throwing stuff out there, and trust me, I am guilty of that sometimes, then there's no real ramification to it. There's no method to your madness. You're just throwing stuff out there, and then at some point, after you do that for a year, you say, it really didn't work. But it didn't work not because you weren't writing enough, it's because you weren't writing the right thing. So cohesiveness, how is your writing coming together? Are you following any kind of framework, like the problem, the opportunity, the promise, the tips, the call to action? What is your framework for writing? I think this is really important. The third tip in order to build your skills for a great 2022 is clarity of offer. Are you clear about what it is you offer? And I'm not just talking about the Ginsu knives where you buy this set, and if you hurry before the time is up, then you're going to get an extra paring knife, and yeah, that's an offer, but that's a direct-to-consumer offer, infomercial. I'm not talking about that. When a person engages you, when a person buys from you and they say, okay, you're the man, you're the woman, I'm going to put my trust in you, I'm going to give you a lot of money to solve my problem, what do they get? Are you clear about that? And have you demonstrated it and explained it to them properly so they know exactly what they're going to get? I like it if you add some dimensions to it. So it's not just, you get this and you get me and you get the solution, but what are some of the bonuses and some of the other things that you can wrap around that offer to make it so compelling and so unique they can't go anywhere else for it? And one of the things that I always recommend sales professionals do as they are getting closer to the end of the sales process is say, look, in the event we decide to work together, here's what it looks like. Here's the cadence. Here are the meetings we're going to have. Here's what you're going to get. Here are the things you're not going to get. Here are the bonuses. If you act before the end of the year, we're going to include this. That's okay. You don't have to make it sound like an infomercial. You just have to be clear on what your offer is. So that's a skill that I think business-to-business sales professionals, marketing people, and CEOs, anybody who's involved in client acquisition, needs to be really clear on the offer. The fourth skill I think you need to learn in 2022, and we've been harping about this for the last few years, but I think every year it becomes more important, and that's on-camera skills. How are you in front of the camera? You might be great behind the camera, but how are you in front of the camera? Video becomes such a big part of all of our lives, and especially when it comes to digital marketing. I did a program the other day for one of my clients on how to use digital technology both in building traffic, building leads, and also converting those leads to clients. And if you don't have a plan for that, or if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, and by plan I mean a plan to improve yourself in front of the camera, then you will just not do it. I've got a coaching client that I work with. I helping her build her personal brand, and she was very petrified of video, and she was a beautiful woman and she was fine on video, but when that camera turned on and the light turned on, she froze and she wasn't herself. And I said, look, you have to do 25 videos, shoot 25 of them, and don't worry about the first 10. Let's focus on the last 15, especially the last 4 or 5, because you get better the more reps. It's like going to the gym. This is me at the gym. Going to the gym and working reps, you get stronger with reps. You don't get stronger with one pull, you get stronger with 10 sets of 5 reps each. Or 5 reps of 10 sets, whatever. Anyway, you understand. Reps are important. So if you want to get better on video, just go and record video. Turn it off, turn it back on, start over, start over, start over. When I watched her 25, guess what? The first 5 were amazing. Why? Because the pressure was off. Because she didn't feel like she had to do a one take. So fourth skill is get good on camera. You don't have to be the best in the world, you just have to be yourself. Skill number 5 that I think we all need to get better at if we're going to accomplish big goals in 2022 is planning to goal. Planning to goal. The goal is $500,000 of income, let's just say. You're at $200,000 now. Well, what's the plan to get there? And sometimes I think we look at the forecast and we look at the goal and we think if we just put the goal out there and look at it every night before we go to bed and every morning we get up, it'll just be bound to happen. Well, that's not really true. You've got to have a plan. One of the things I do with all of my clients is I do a personal business planning session. Usually it happens near the end of the year, but it can happen anytime. And what I do is I take 1 year, what do you want to accomplish in the next year? And what are the resources you need? What are the target accounts? What are the skills? Just create a plan. Make it a one-page plan. But you've got to have a plan that is almost proven or guaranteed to help you get to your goal. You can always tweak it. In fact, you might double down on some areas. Say, you know what? I'm not doing these 5 things because these 2 things work great. Okay, great. Keep with those 2 things and double down on them. But a skill that I think sales professionals and any of us need to get better at is planning as it relates to the goal that we set. So I hope you've enjoyed that. By the way, if you want to hear the entire podcast, the link is below. I'll see you next time. Go to billcaskey.com. If you're interested in a high achiever mentoring program, a small group coaching program, we're giving some thought to opening up here again early in the year. There is a wait list at the very top of billcaskey.com. Make sure you get on the wait list. No obligation. I'll send you a handful of things, and then when it does open, we will let you know. Bye.